If you ask a paranormal investigator what type of buildings are most haunted, some of them will tell you it's a museum. Now, a lot of museums start off as poor farms and turn into museums for the Historical Society. But here in Kansas, there's a museum that's unlike those others. Tonight we're investigating the Kansas Aviation Museum in Wichita, Kansas.
The museum's housed in what was Wichita's original airport. The airport opened in 1929 and they started building this building in 1930. Of course, Depression hit, funds dried up, so it kind of just sat for 4 years before they could start building again, and they opened it in 1935, and it was Wichita's airport from 35 to 54. 51 and 50 through 54, it was joint use both for what became the Air Force and the city, and then the Air Force took the building over in 1954. They had it until 1984. It was their administrative building. And then in 84, they walked away from the building. It sat empty for 5 years, and the city was actually going to tear it down. Some of the prominent businessmen here in town got together, went to Washington, got it on the National Historic Register, formed the board of directors and the operating bylaws for the museum, and the city leases it to the museum, and we opened in 1991, and the rest is kind of history. My husband came back to volunteer, and about a week later he brought home a flyer for one of our paranormal investigations, and it was like, drat, they got me. So that was like probably a couple weeks after I started volunteering, and that very first one, down in what we call our ooey room, because it's kind of a storage and it's dusty and it's dark and it's kind of creepy. Gentleman at that time, a spirit that we called Fedora Man, we didn't know his name. And that first investigation, he stepped into me.
Okay.
Not just up close, into me. And whenever he's close, it's like freezing Arctic cold. Everybody else is normal temperature, but for me, it's like extremely cold. And I just kind of stepped forward when he stepped in and said, that's a little bit too close.
Talking with Lynn, I found out that there's a spirit in this area that goes by the name of Duke. And it appears that Duke likes to get a little handsy.
Well, one of our frequent occurrences for the guests, mainly the female guests, one of our planes that are behind us, the pilot is, how do I say, he's a ladies' man. And he's been known to touch the women's shoulder and pull their hair, and he's now graduated to grabbing their butts. A couple months ago that came and the lady was in my husband's group, and she was over by his plane, and most of the rest of the group was over in the other area, and she came to him and asked him, you know, like, is that plane very active? And she told him that she felt someone grab her butt, and she turned around to slap the person, and there wasn't anybody there. I said, yeah, that's Duke. Duke's been known to do that. Well, there's one down in our archives that's not particularly friendly. He's been known to get rather foul-mouthed with some of the female guests before. He also tends to like push books or throw things in the archives, even during the day. Our business director's desk is down in the archives right now while they're redoing the offices, and was down. Couldn't tell you what we were talking about, but I actually ended up getting scratched down in the archives. And one of our other volunteers, one of her friends' granddaughter, during the last investigation, ended up scratched on the back of her leg.
And you showed me a picture of
Yeah,
that.
quite.
It was multiple scratches.
Yes.
Like,
my husband had one. It wasn't with the plane, but we used to have Lloyd Stearman's Mercedes down on the first
I
floor.
was about to ask you about that.
Yeah, that was actually one of our more memorable ones. We had moved it from where it was originally down to the other end of the room, and that first investigation, they were talking, had the spirit box and had the screen where you could see the stick figures.
Yeah, the SLS camera.
And so the SLS was over at the side of the car, and they were like, he was standing in the hallway in front, and the investigator was, asking questions, and asked if he was upset that they had moved. And my husband made the mistake of saying that he was one of the ones that helped move it, and I kindly told the spirit that, they wanted to move it clear out of the museum, and it pushed him, and you could actually see it on the SLS, and it pushed him probably 3 or 4 feet from the middle of the hall clear back to the wall. Yeah, so that was...
And it wasn't like you guys just saw it with your own eyes. It was like you saw it on the SLS where the stick figure.
Yeah, at the same time seeing, that was just really kind of, and he said it was more like a pressure than like where you would physically feel a touch.
All right, guys, we are about to do something bananas. Like, this is one of the coolest things I've done on this channel, and this is why it pays off to be a Patreon member. So tonight we're going to do a little bit of an experiment, something I like to call the phone-in EVP session, and that's where somebody gets to call in. I put them on speakerphone. They do an EVP session over the phone while I run a recorder, and I leave the area. Nobody else is around, and we see what happens. A lot of times people on the phone will experience stuff. Sometimes things will happen within the room, and then sometimes we capture it on EVP or on audio or on video. So if you notice this behind me, that is a 1950s B-52. This one served in the Vietnam War, and tonight Rachel from Patreon is going to get to do the EVP session. So let's get up in there and let's get her ready. Ugh. That's my head. This is one of the seats. Turn that on. Here we go. Down this. Well, we just set her up, so now it's time to go inside and get to investigating. Hopefully I don't forget about her. Womp womp. One of the perks to investigating, elevator. Hello, hello. So right up here is one of the best places so far that I've found to investigate, and that is the control tower. I've had a lot of activity up there last time I was here, so we're gonna go up there and see if we can communicate with something or somebody. So here in the control tower, a lot of people have heard music. They've heard voices, footsteps. Also, last time I was here with KD Stafford, we had some communication with somebody. We had some potential communication. There's a lot of steps, and I'm out of breath. Let's put up some gear.
My name is Rachel. what's your name? Were any of you in the military? If you were, what branch were you in? If you weren't in the military, what did you do? Why are you at the museum?
One of the things we're going to set up is the EDI Plus. I do want to set it like right over here somewhere. And then we're going to utilize one of these. This is a open circuit right now, but grabbing the metal ends. If I grab both ends, it lights up. So we're going to set this somewhere. Maybe a spirit can develop enough of its energy to be a little more solid to touch and move things. That's something that cannot be, that is something that cannot be like set off by any kind of radio frequency or anything like that. You have to touch it. You have to complete the circuit. Like, you got a great view up here. This is David. I am at the Kansas Aviation Museum. It is a little bit after 11. I'm up in the tower. It's probably around 11:30. If there's anybody here who could hear the sound of my voice, can you let me know by saying something or making some sort of noise here? There are some devices I set out for you, some things you can try. That orange box with the orange numbers. Feel free to try to pick that up. If you use all your energy around it, you can try to pick that up. Also, there's a tube sitting over there. It's got lights in it. If you grab the two ends on there, grab it like you would pick up anything else and hold on to it. And you'll light up the lights, they'll make noise. Can you tell me your name, please? Are you a man or a woman?
Are there any female spirits here tonight? Can you try to make a really loud noise so I can hear you? I know I'm on the phone, and it might be a little hard, but I'd really love to be able to hear you. Can you try to say hello into the phone? How many spirits are in the room with me right now? Oh, I think I heard a little bang. Could you do that again to confirm? Now remember, I'm on the phone and it can be kind of hard to hear, so whatever you do, if you would like to talk to me or let me know that you can hear me, you're going to have to make it really loud. So were any of you really in the military? Maybe you were in the Air Force? Oh, I think I heard another noise. If that was you, you did a really good job. I definitely heard that. Is it possible you could try again? Maybe do it really loud for the camera.
Were you in the military? Were you in the Air Force? What was your rank? The AC is on, so like there's some things making noise in here. And I just have to decipher whether that's actually anything paranormal, but for the most part, it's so far all of it's not. There's a ladder outside that goes up. Have you ever been on top of this building?
And how long were you in the military? Did you pass away in service to the country? If you did, thank you for your service. Are there any spirits here? Could you please come over to where you can hear my voice? I think maybe I heard you. I thought it was Dave walking back in, but I think it was you. Could you try doing that again? Just as loud as you can, where you hear my voice, just yell hello, as loud as you can.
Last time I was here, I was talking to somebody that must have died in an accident. You had a girlfriend at home. She may have been pregnant. Does that ring a bell? There was a plane crash that happened not too far from here. They left this base, this airport, the runway. Were you a part of that flight? This is creating a noise level that makes me think that I'm hearing stuff. Can you slam your hand on that? Up here?
If you're waiting for someone, who are you waiting for? Have you been able to see your family since you passed away? I don't know what that was, but that sounded crazy while I was talking. I don't know if that was an echo.
Heard a thump down here. There's somebody down there? Are you down there? Some stuff in here. And a flare gun. Old microphone. That'd be cool to have. Headphones. Can you make that phone ring? How old are we now that rotary phones are now in a freaking museum? Ugh. I would just like to see you set this device off. Like, you can slam it. It'll light up. Just tap your hand on it. Can you do that? Right now, Rachel is in the airplane. It's about time to go get her, so I think we'll make our way down there and see if she had anything happen, see if she caught anything. I'm very curious. So now that that's done, we are going to investigate in this area where the ghost of Duke is said to grab women's behinds. I don't think I'll get my butt grabbed, but potentially I might get touched. I don't know. We are also going to try a device built by KD Stafford. It's kind of like the Dead Bell, has an antenna, and is conducive of the EMF. Like, the EMF will set it off. Also, I am going to be walking around taking some still photos, long exposure, to see if I can capture anything in photography. And while that's going on, I'm going to set up a GoPro with the EDI Plus. I'm going to set those up alone. I'm going to have the EDI running, and recording, and I'm going to see if we capture any kind of anomalies on that. So let's get started. Let's get everything set up. So one of the places that I was told to set something up was on the wing of this airplane. So we are going to set up the EDI Plus right here. I'm going to put a GoPro on it to make sure, like, if something happens, I want it on video. So on this airplane, I'm setting up what's basically a REM pod. It has two different modes, one for the sound, and then we have musical tone. And the musical tone I am personally in favor of. It's more pleasing. So we're going to set this on this airplane. I think we have a dead battery in the dead bell. All right, and then for the last dog and pony trick, this plane in here, we are going to set this bell on. This is the Goodyear plane. We're going to set this back here. I have turned down the sensitivity. We'll set it right here in the middle. She is on. I was told it's loud. I don't know how loud it is, so I might get the crap scared out of me. So when you're setting up your phone, if you have Pro mode, if you take your ISO or your speed, turn it all the way down to where it's like white screen, like you can turn off the lights and take pictures like that. It actually sees things, because it takes a lot of time to absorb the light. So I got the speed set to 30 seconds. My ISO is all the way open to 32,000 or 3,200. I've got a pen tool that takes pictures. So let me take this out. Set that right there. We're going to take a picture. Sorry. I'm going to take a picture here. It's going to take like 30 seconds to take this photo, but you're going to see how bright this is because there's a lot of light down there that it is soaking in. Okay, Duke. If you are here, I'd like to know that you're here, know that you see me, hear me. Are you familiar with your surroundings? You can let me know by making a noise that I can distinguish. Can you step in between these two planes here? Or walk between them? Feels like something crawling on me. If you can walk between those planes, maybe I can get your photo. I may turn down the ISO a little bit. Or no, let's keep the ISO open. Let's do the speed. That's not very good. Let's go to 8 seconds. Let's see how this one looks. So which plane was yours, Duke? Which plane do you like to be around? God, it feels like something's on my neck. Is that you, Duke? Are you playing with my neck? Being all kinky. Okay, this next one's going to be 15 seconds. I think 15 seconds is probably going to be where we're at as far as the time taking these photos. Is there a lady here? If there's a lady here, could you light up a device for me? I've got one on. I just heard something. I've got a device right over there on that wing of that plane. That was bizarre. Duke, are you by your plane? I smell kind of urine-y smell. It's weird. Here, Duke, stand by your plane. Let me get a picture of you, okay? Are you standing there? Okay. I think some of this light flooding in is screwing with the picture there. I don't see where my camera is at. Okay, let's try that again. Move this over a little. Stand right here, right by your plane, right here. Let me see you. Be sure to wave. Is there a reason you're here, Duke? The bell is down there by the yellow plane. I don't know if you can see that. Do you see the yellow plane down there? Can you ring that bell? These are still coming out so blurry. Can you make some kind of noise to let me know you're here? Talk to me. I'm going to try back here. This is wide open in here. Is there anybody here that was here when this was an airport? Were you here when this was the Air Force Base? If you can hear this, can you come and use this to talk to me? Come use this to talk to me. Tell me your name. Right now. Name's what? Get coffee? Who's the female? Who just answered? What's your name, hon? What was your name, hon? Wow. Were you here during the airport days, or were you here during the time that the Air Force had this? What decade were you in? What decade is it for you? 1998? Don't be afraid of my voice. Don't be afraid. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. What town is this? Were you on a plane that crashed? Did you serve on an airplane? Did you serve in the military? I heard corporate in there. For what it's worth. So much. If I moved to a different part of the building, where would it be easier for you? What floor? 1, 2, or 3? Real quick, what floor would it be easier to reach to you? I'm hearing 2, but you're not doing much to catch my attention. That bell down there, can you ring it? $104.5. Listen to him. Bop, 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 bop. All right, I'm moving. Okay. 3rd floor, here we are. This goes all the way around. This is business leaders. If there's anybody up here and you can hear my voice, why do I feel like I heard somebody? Hello? I felt like I heard somebody say hello. and it was a female. No joke. I know it's weird because of all the women in this area. Is there anybody here? Can you use this? Look what I made. Is there a lady up here? I thought I just heard you say hello. Did I hear you, ma'am? Okay, that's down. Ma'am? You want to use this to talk to me? I just caught something out of the corner of my eye over here. Is that you? Look. 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 You see how that works? I'm going to let you play with that. Can you use that to talk to me? Light it up? I just heard footsteps. Like it was following me. They're coming up behind me. Let me walk back again. Maybe it's... Okay, it's the floor right there. If you step on it weird, it like makes the other boards behind you kind of creak. Look, you can just come up to this and touch it and light them up. Like there's nothing over here. I thought I saw something out of the corner of my eye when I was standing there. So let's kind of chillax, I guess, for a minute. I have a light on right now just because you guys can't see anything if I turn it off. A little heaviness here. Heaviness on my chest. It's not the heights. You want to be my date? Do you travel all throughout the building here? Hello. It's good. Can you say hello? I'm trying to communicate with you guys to show that you're real and that you exist. Just say hello through that for me, please. There's a faint hello on there. I don't think it picked.
Over the body.
Over the body.
House.
I felt a gush of air right on my hands and it said over the body. That was weird. Can you do something like that again? That was bizarre. Super bizarre. I don't see any air vents right through here. Is there somebody down in the archives room on the first floor at the end of the hall? Is there a bad spirit here?
Or possible.
Where should I go next?
On May 12th.
I heard there's a lot of shadow figures here.
Yes.
Yes. Well, can one of you grab that device right there on the other table? Bring it to me right here. Please grab that device. It's weird because like it's almost as if you have an experience or have something happen and then it, you know, like it hits and then gone. That was weird. That was a weird feeling. Very weird. All right. Fuck those chairs. Okay, so this is the gross room that they don't like. We're going to go to the archive room first and then come to this room. The archive room, they've experienced like a negative entity. Okay. So down here in the archive room, there's been a sense that there's a negative entity down here. Not a demon. Let's put a brakes on that. But a negative entity. Potentially it's a human entity that just isn't very nice. Now there's thought amongst the people that work here that this entity is confining a woman, another female spirit, keeping her from communicating. This negative spirit does not like women and has scratched women. So, being that I'm not a woman, I'm not going to get scratched, I don't think. But we're going to see what... I'm not going to piss it off either. I'm not going to do any of that because they have to work here. But I do want to see if we can capture any proof of this. I have a digital recorder here. Now also what I want to set up, even though it hasn't really done much tonight, I'm going to use the REM pod again to see if we can't get any kind of response. Where do I want to put this? Put it up here in a book, on the bookshelf. So I've placed it up here in this bookshelf, right here. I placed it there because this area is where it is said that the spirit moves around in. The other thing I want to set up are these tubes. So these tubes, you have to touch the ends to complete the circuit. So I want to put this somewhere easily accessible, like this chair. And yeah. I want to speak to the entity that's down here. I'm here by myself. I'd like for you to come out and say hello. Are you military? Or did you work at the airport? I set up some devices around here for you to try. I want to show people that you're real and that you exist. You know, you had a name when you were alive. Do you remember what your name was? You used to do stuff for fun. Everybody had hobbies, you know. What were some of your hobbies? Did you like to read? Did you fly a plane? Did you just chase girls? I mean, that's kind of the life, isn't it? What decade were you from? What did you grow up in? Was it the 30s? The 40s? The 50s? The 60s? That'd have been a heck of a decade to grow up in. How about the 70s? Or there's the 80s, I guess. I was born in the 80s. Hard to believe that 1980 was 40 years ago in my time. I put out these devices that look like tubes. If you grab the metal ends, it's not going to hurt you, but it'll light up and it'll make sound. It's all for fun. Are you able to do that? Can you physically move things? Well, the night's coming to an end. Guys, I've got to wrap up and head out of here. But I just want to say I have had a great time investigating here at the Aviation Museum. There's so many levels to this building that one night is not enough to experience it all. From the history that's all around us, like these planes, to the stuff that's in the archive, to the spirits that might be here. It's all very fascinating, and sometimes you don't catch anything on investigations, and that's okay. But you at least got to experience the place. Now, with that being said, tonight we didn't really catch much that I know of while filming this, because we might have caught some EVPs. I don't know. But that's investigating, guys. Not every place is going to be haunted. I want to thank Lynn and Randy for letting me investigate here, especially Jackie for letting me come and investigate here, and for Randy for letting me into that B-52. That thing was awesome. Visit the Kansas Aviation Museum here in Wichita, guys. It's a pretty cool place, and you're going to experience history, whether it's paranormal or not. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you're not following me on Patreon, what are you doing with your life?
I believe the city donated it. The one behind us, the green and yellow one, that's actually the only one in existence. It was found in a boxcar down in southeast Kansas. And surprisingly, it still had the Skylark emblem on it.
Really?
The company was only in business for a year, and they only built 5 production and 1 prototype. We believe this is the prototype. We're not 100% sure on that, but it is the only one in existence.
That's amazing.
Company was only in business from 29 to 30, and like a lot of companies, went bankrupt with the Depression.
Yeah.